Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, viewers all around the world. I want to welcome you once again to another broadcast of Venture Capital Fund. Today we have again Miss Felicia Boyle-Bizard, who has a tremendous background in academics, strong background in finance, and a strong background in business. And today we will be talking about a very important topic, which is customer care. Before I start the program, I must say, this is one lady that I admire. It's a lady, it's a female, and nothing is holding her back. You know, she does extremely well in the Bahamas. She's now in Guyana, and she's now trying to leave her footprint in Guyana in terms of scaling up her business in Guyana. Welcome, Ms. Boyle-Bizard.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Thank you very much for having me.
You're most welcome. Today we are looking at some of the importance around quality customer care. To get the conversation started, the first question I want to ask you is, what in your definition represents quality customer care?
Sure. Well, if we go to customer care, basically how a customer views whatever service they've received, their perception of that service is basically what they relate as customer service. So if we're going to go with quality customer service, we're indicating that whatever the customer perceives based on their interaction with the business is of quality, is of value, is of the highest value, if I may say, because it's not subpar, it's good quality.
Awesome. It's very, interesting what you would have said. Quality customer care, I believe, has a lot to do also with what you perceive to be your value proposition. And your value proposition must be clear in your mind. So it's easier for you to translate that in the minds of the potential and existing and consumers.
Absolutely.
Excellent point. When we look at customer care, we are mainly looking at three areas of brand positioning. We are looking at before the sales services, we are looking at during the sales services, and we are looking at after sales services. What in your mind represents what we would want to call an ideal before the sales services, during the sales services, and after sales services? And just let me say a couple of things before you end. What we see happen very often, this is not just in Guyana, the Caribbean, I've seen this in the developed world. There's maybe excellent before the sales services, meaning that the radio ads, the television ads, the newspaper ads, it's out there, it's banging, and information is being transferred. But in many cases, we are seeing that during the sales services that has everything to do with customer care, it is not peaking the way you would want it to peak. Last on this point, the after sales services is an area where we see that most businesses fall down here. And perhaps here is where you need to be the strongest, because here is where you have continuity in consumer pattern. Here is where you have referrals, and here is where you can introduce new products, new brands, and really get the business sustainably on the market. From this perspective, what do you think is ideal before, during, and after sales services?
Like I mentioned, customer service, it's basically a perception. So you have to be very careful how you stimulate your customers from a senses. So if you were to look at, your five senses and how those could possibly impact the customers from a sense of hearing, sense of sight, smell, taste. We have to look at that from the moment we start advertising, or even the moment the customer steps up to the door, the front of your premises. What do they see? What do they, first of all, is it clean around your environment? Is it when they open the door, what do they hear? Is it good morning, welcome to Thompson's Trading? Whatever it is, we have to be very cognizant that customers are building their perception based on their senses. And what are we giving off from a what are we allowing the customers to really experience even before they take on the product or service? And now that same concept holds after the sale happens. So if they call and say, well, I have an issue with the product I purchased, what is your customer reaction? How do you react to the customer in that regard? Do you really listen to what their issues are? Because sometimes we listen to respond, but not listen to understand. And that listening is a big thing in customer service. So we have to do a full walkthrough even after the whole advertising takes place, because that is out in cyberspace, and they're looking for that exact service that you're demonstrating in your ads as soon as they hit the building. And so they want to make sure, you want to make sure as the owner, as the manager, that you follow the crumbs, that you make sure that the sight is good, the smell is good, what they hear in your organization is great, and the body language of the people that you have working for you. Because I may not say a word to a customer, but my body language gives off such a negative aura that it leaves a bad taste in the customer's mouth, So let us as managers, as owners, walk through our entire operation, do a full-fledged analysis of what are we doing from the moment the customer steps to the door, from the moment they call the phones, our phone lines, do we have extensions? Do they, because if a customer calls and the phone rings out, that is a negative perception. If they call and they only get a voicemail, that's a negative perception. If they call and someone say, we busy, call back, that is also negative. So how are we not only giving the product to the customer or the service to the customer, but all the accompanying elements of transacting, and even after the transaction takes place, we need to walk it through to the end, because as soon as a customer is engaged or someone is engaged, they're a prospect. And once they come on board as a customer, how do we make sure that we keep them on, given the 80-20 rule?
I love that. It's like saying you must know what are your attention grabbers, what are your interest speakers, what are your motivators, how to create impact, how to convert the customers. And with everything that you're saying, you can perhaps lay the foundation to not only convert first-time users into just a first-time users, but possibly into lifetime customers. It's about
exactly, and that's where the rule comes in, because really and truly 80% of our business is generated by 20% of our customers. So how do we make sure that 20% remains and even grows? Like you said, lifelong customers, the persons who have good perception of our business, that they're connected emotionally, not only because of the great product, but because of your great customer service, will hold on to you and will provide that 80% of your revenues.
What you're saying is very profound to the growth and success of any business. Is absolutely profound. We have done a research a few years ago, and that speaks to the same issue that you're talking about. But what we have also found is that Many businesses do not have the wherewithal to gather the critical market intelligence so as to develop what we call a targeted customer relation program. Just let me explain quickly what I mean by this. To do specific demographic targeting or customer targeting, it requires you to understand who you're targeting in the first place. And in understanding who you're targeting is to understand their lifestyle, culture, social class, their needs, wants, and expectation. And it is only based on understanding this, you can then develop a well-targeted customer care program that can have that larger than life impact. Along with what I would have said, from your vantage point, why most businesses struggle with the before the sales services, during the sales services, and after sales services? Is it just the capital to engage in primary market research and extract that information, or there are other factors from your vantage point?
Sure, great question, Mrs. Thompson. And that goes back to business planning. You mentioned, understanding your market, et cetera, doing the research for where you are. Before you get into business and before you really establish your business, you have to get into proper business planning.
Yeah, I agree.
Making sure that you truly understand what you're offering and the services you're offering, and what prices are equitable for your particular market, and just doing the whole overview of what you have planned. And that's my toddler. He can come. Come.
Okay. They
Yes.
want to they want to star with you, right?
Yes, I'm a business consultant, but first and foremost a mommy. Yes.
Awesome.
So you do the one of the main reasons why businesses fail in this regard, or fail to really capture the customer base, is because we wake up one morning and we pop into business.
Yeah.
Without doing the proper business planning. And even if we were to establish a well-oiled business, so to speak, we then we have the opportunity to do planning once the business already started, once the business would have been established. Yes. So we have to make sure that, first of all, get our business planning right, even before business or during business. And business planning is very dynamic. So after you would have established, after you would have joined the market, maybe things change. Maybe you need to update certain things. So that's the first thing. Come, Kaylin, come on, come to mommy, come. Yeah, so that's the first thing. The second aspect has to do with training. You know, as business owners, we tend to put training on this, actually on a lower level than marketing, which training and marketing should go hand in hand. Hold 1 second for me, please. Hold 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So, like I said, the second thing, we have to really involve in training. Training from the frontline customer service reps to, come, sweetie, frontline service reps. Come. There we go. Good boy. All right. So let's talk about customer service, right?
Hi, baby boy.
Say hi.
Hi, baby boy.
So customer service, we have to make sure that we invest from the frontline people to the CEOs and the executives, because the executives need to value what the persons on the front line are faced with on a daily basis. You know, and let's cover that in a theoretical basis. Let's cover that from the theory perspective, and also add a practical walkthrough. yes, capital is definitely necessary to, you know, for training and for research, etc. But whatever we can do, let us set aside in our budgets to do business planning and supplement that with training and proper research, which would be done during the business planning phase.
Awesome. Again, you have made some very valid points, but I want to ask a question largely based on research that we have been doing over many years
Right,
in Guyana and what we have seen. There are businesses that we have been interfacing with for over 15 years. And where we met them 15 years ago is where they remain.
wow.
I say this against the backdrop that many of these institutions, we would have provided them with some of the institutional training that you were talking about, quality customer care, marketing, uh, brand management, and so forth.
Right.
Now, having said all of that, what we are seeing is that the knowledge of quality customer care, the knowledge of business planning, while it is absolutely essential in managing a business, we're seeing that the lack of capital, and perhaps there may be other factors, perhaps at some points we'll talk about business leadership and what is the mindset that you need to move that process forward. But we're seeing even with the knowledge, many businesses remains the same. Um,
When you say knowledge, can you clarify that?
yeah,
The businesses that you've dealt with in the past 15 years in that
yeah.
time span, did they undertake uh, business planning and implementing of what was planned, um, and they remain the same? Help me to understand, please.
All right. Let me be specific also. I'm specifically referring to small businesses.
Yes.
To understand the reality of a small business in Guyana, perhaps this might also relate to the Caribbean and beyond. It is very, very important to understand this because you find a small business owner tend to be a jack of all trade in the organization, meaning that they're studying accounting, they're studying marketing, they're studying customer care, and they might be the person producing and delivering the products. So that in itself is going to be an impediment to business growth. All
Sure.
right. Um, so those are one factor that we have seen. But specifically in terms of the knowledge that I would have referenced to just now, these are persons that you train in quality customer care. These are persons that you train in marketing, brand
Sure.
management. But in spite of training them in these fields, the, the application of the information is not there. And I think
So
what is
I
important to look at, what is important to understand, is what are those impediments to the application of the information.
very good point. May I ask you? I think maybe I missed the first part of the answer, but in addition to training, did we do business planning for these individuals? So we went through the overview of where they stand and what the plans are in terms of financial projections based on realistic numbers that we have and realistic expectations. Because you can, it's like you can buy size 5 dresses or suits or whatever the size is in men's suits, but you can buy a size 5, but you're currently a size 14. So you're buying a size 5 and you're telling me how to zip the zip down and put on the put your first leg in and the second leg and pull up and zip up, and you're training me how to do that. But if we did not go through the practical aspect of diet, exercise, watching, you know, meal portions, etc., we can talk, stay all day and talk about all of that. but but that will not solve the issue. It will
Yeah.
not um, get us to you will be stuck in a position where you don't see growth, and you're wondering, I did all these trainings, I did all of this, I did all of that. So it's quite possible for a one-man show to grow and show exponential growth if there's proper planning. But we cannot train without proper business planning, and that's the mindset that we need to overcome, because we can talk about that size 5 from sun up to sundown, but if we remain a size 12, 14, we probably even go up to 16 if we don't practically put in some key items. So that's what I was trying to get. Are we planning? Are we really looking at the business and seeing what they need to do more of, less of? Who are their target customers? Who, are they really producing at a reasonable cost and marking up the way they need to? Where is the money's coming from to expand? Who? What is that? What is the year one plan? And so yeah, so I feel very. You can see I feel very passionately about business planning, even before you get into customer service training and training in general.
Yeah, the business planning or the customer care has to be a part of the business plan. You've
Yes,
made some very, very great points also, but just let me point out a couple of things.
sure.
And I'm quite certain that you're familiar with what happens sometimes in business. When we talk about the business plan, you would agree, and I love that you use the term proper business planning, because what we see happen sometimes, entrepreneurs use what we call a speculative approach to developing the business plan, meaning that they sit in their office, they assume that this is the market size, they assume that this is demand, they assume that this is my customer base. And in many cases, they develop that business plan based on that, which is highly speculative.
Right.
Proper business planning would entail that you go to the ground, do the research, and it's only based on that research that allows you to understand who is your target market, the size of your target market, the density of your market, dispersion of your market. You can then accurately develop or properly develop that business plan, and along with that to understand your financials. Because in developing your business plan, you also want to know what is the potential of the market to cash flow. From the research that we are doing, we are seeing that many small businesses are not in the position of strength to do this. This bring me back to what we are attempting to do here, which is to form synergy and to provide a comprehensive range of services to micro, small, and medium-sized businesses to really help them to get past some of what we're going to call the pitfalls, the hiccups, the stagnation in terms of their business development. The other thing that we have seen on the ground is that many of the entrepreneurs, they have a passion for what they do. They might be arts and craft producers. They might be agro-processors. But what we are seeing is that they have a passion for what they are doing, but they are not necessarily the professional bookkeepers, the grounded, entrepreneur who would have had their, certificate, diploma, degree, master's degree in business. So the expertise to really help them uh, to match where they're at, to scale where they're at, I think it is a necessary um, avenue and platform for us to start looking at in terms of helping those small businesses to scale. I think that this conversation today has been very, very unique, very, very helpful, because I think that I wasn't expected to discuss where the local business sector is at, but I think having this information is what really helps you to make better informed decisions in terms of how you plan and implement programs to reach to reach an impact, because I think at the end of the day, the primary objective should be to ensure that we can move them from stage 1 to stage 2. But to make it happen, we must understand the dynamics in which they're in. You're muted, you're muted.
I totally agree with you, Mr. Thompson. The thing about it is, there's a few things to add. I understand the constraints of micro businesses and small businesses, but we have to change our mindset as entrepreneurs in these areas and these sectors to the fact that business consulting with professionals should be part of that initial onboarding. Because the same way you set aside funds for purchasing products, you should set aside funds for business consulting. Why? Because you're preparing to, you know, some people succeed and some businesses succeed. So there's probability without planning, but the probability of failure is higher without consulting. And how the countries do it. Even the mom and pop shops make sure that they have an advisor who's advising them, and it's up to persons like you and myself to make those services affordable, make them, you know, so they're not out there where it's almost impossible to meet those needs. Yeah.
Exactly.
But we have to change our mindset in understanding that business consulting is what's going to take our businesses from point A to point B. And a lack of it can possibly cause us to remain in point A or even close our businesses, because we see a lot of businesses popping up today and then tomorrow we're like, where'd our business gone? Didn't it just pop up on Regent Street and now they're gone? It's because of a lack of planning. And so if we plan accordingly, and the plan should include training, the plan should include customer service, then we get to that level where we need to be. You know, so I cannot stress it enough that let's not think of planning as something extra. Let us think of planning, let us think of training as, you know, the way to go, the only way to go actually, especially where we're going to be faced with foreign direct investors who potentially doing the same thing that we're doing or investing with someone else to make their services more robust. We have to start putting ourselves in their shoes, even with limited capital. And I heard that you mentioned that you're working on, you know, implementing possible ways of financing, which would be easier for small and micro businesses. So I just want to stress to your audience that let us look at planning, training, which includes customer service, as an integral part of our business and our operations as we head into 2021 and as we head into whatever Guyana has to offer as it relates to expansion and oil money and all of that stuff.
Excellent reply. I have one last question to ask, but just before permit me to add a few things to what you would have said.
Yeah.
In looking at the small business dilemma in Guyana, while I support everything that you would have said 101%, as time progressed, I would want us to look deeper into the Small Business Act of 2004 and also look at, you know, government budgetary allocation to help small businesses. Things that we would have to embark on is stronger partnership with the Ministry of Business, Tourism and Industry, and ensure that we can, you know, sit and make proper representation for small businesses. So that's one aspect of it. Along with this, we have to look a lot at alternative platforms like the equity what we call the ECM, the equity capital market, and to bring a range of new sets of services that can really help businesses to move forward. The last question that I want to ask is relevant to what are some key benefits building a strong system around customer relation. And I know that it is so, you can look perhaps at 1,001 different benefits, but I just want you to give us a sum of the key benefits of really sitting down and doing that deep dive into what quality customer care is, and really what are some key benefits.
Sure, and I would narrow it down to one key benefit, which brings out into various benefits. And the one benefit of great customer care is your bottom line. We're as entrepreneurs who are not in NPOs and all of that, not-for-profit organizations, one of our main aims, yes, we want to help society, etc., but one of the main aims is our bottom line, right? And
you're perfect with that. You got it.
Implementing customer care really goes to the bottom line.
Yep.
The better customers feel, the better the nicer things they associate with your organization, the more they will be inclined to spend.
Not that I'm cutting you, let me just say this in support of what you're saying. The CSR, the customer service representatives, they are the heart and the blood that literally keeps the heart of that organization pumping. But guess what? We don't emphasize training there. Every single thing that you're saying is absolutely necessary in this regard. So I love what you're saying. So sorry for cutting you. Do continue.
No, that's fine. Just a few more things there, that once we would have come to that realization that proper customer care, it will affect our bottom line. And from the bottom line, it will allow our people to have jobs. Like I say during the customer service training, that it allows you to have a paycheck. So how you deal with customers, this is your paycheck walking in the store right now. If we all were to think about customers as our live paycheck walking in, we would treat them better. So from the moment they answer the phone, you answer the phone and there's a customer on the line, oh my goodness, this is my walking paycheck right now. This is what's gonna keep my business moving from point 1 to point 2. I need to handle this better. The customer, so in that regard, like you said, before the sale happens, if you think of the customer as your paycheck, then you're gonna look at, listen, I need to do what it takes to make sure I capture them. And once the sale happens, I need to do what it takes to make sure that the customer returns, and it can be a nice little revolving door. So they come in, they spend, I take care of them, they go out, they come, they spend, and we repeat, wash, repeat. And so all elements of our customer care package or a customer care plan or protocols need to have this in mind, that everything we're doing is our bottom line. So we may have to reimburse a customer because of a faulty product, or give them some sort of coupon for their next service. But let's not think of that as we're going to lose, because net at the end of the day, you'll win depending on how you treat that customer. So the main element, the main benefit of proper customer care would be your bottom line. And that entails several aspects, from paycheck to loyal customers to repeat customers and the like. Bottom line.
Awesome. All right, thanks a lot for your time. It's always such a pleasure to be
Yeah.
talking with you on these important issues for business development.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we can take away that quality customer care must become an integral part of the corporate culture itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. There you had it, public. Today we talked with, go right ahead.
I was saying thank you and say hi,
You're
Lindsay. This
welcome. Hi, baby boy. Well, you started the show today, right?
and you know that's what we do. Mommies, daddies have to juggle, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's called you. It's part of molding their minds. So by the time you reach, 7, 8, 9, 10, he takes over from you,
Absolutely. But
passing the
thank you.
baton. Definitely. All right. Well, thanks again, and do have a wonderful day, and we'll be talking soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.